Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, Nitya, ma'am. Good morning, Abhi, sir. Good morning,
Morning.
Divya, ma'am.
Good morning.
Sir joined very earlier, Shilpa ma'am.
Oh, so I'm later.
Yeah, ma'am. Even I was late. Sir was
I,
there before me.
I live in Japanese time, that's why.
Ma'am, I was in the other meet, Nitya, ma'am. She scheduled for class 8 Life of Astronaut. So I was waiting there. Only Priyadarshan and me was there. Then I refreshed my calendar and got this.
Okay.
From 8:50, I was waiting in that meet.
Okay, Divya ma'am, shall we start, Divya ma'am? So
Yeah, we
2
can
moments.
start, ma'am.
I'll just start with the prayer then. We have 2 moments. A very good morning to one all present there for the meet. So we'll just start the day with the prayer. So children, please close your eyes and stay in the mood of prayer. You can just turn on your cameras, children. Will you please? Okay, we'll start with the prayer. Dear God, we pray for your encouragement to light a path today. We humbly ask for a renewal of hope within us. We pray about impatience and anxiety. God, calm down us, study us. Please guide every step we take and every decision we must make today. Keep us out of harm. Thank you, God. Thank you, children. So we have Shilpa ma'am here. So she'll explain us about our team. Over to Shilpa.
Yeah. Thank you, Nitya, ma'am. Hi, all. Good morning. And I'm Shilpa. And today we are going to see a session on life of an astronaut. Okay. We have a team. The team is working for Jollibees. Jollibees is nothing but it's a Velur first hobby club for children. We conduct after-school program and activities for kids of all ages. At Jollibees, we are passionate about playful learning and creative educations. Due to this COVID lockdown, we started with online classes on art and crafts, singing, creative movement, creative storytelling and writing, astronomy, fun facts, then logical thinking. So Jollibees conducts online summer classes too. And today we have Abhi sir. He is part of our team, and he has been with us for more than 2 years. So thank you, Abhi sir, for being with us today. And over to you, Nitya ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So I'm the indeed great pleasure to introduce our resource person for today, Mr. Abhinath, Chief Technology Officer, Madras Mindworks Private Limited. He's an avid gamer and tech enthusiast who has previously worked in product design and development for an automotive company. His exposure to the fields like manufacturing and product design helped the MMW seeking new perspectives in creating believable things in the virtual world. He finds creative excellence in individuals and bridges the gap with necessary tech expertise. His hobbies, a few of his hobbies are actually he reads a lots of books and journals, articles to say related to technology, travel, and history. His interests are astronomy, space, and languages. So over to Habib sir actually. So we'll welcome you with a great round of applause, sir. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Will you all please welcome Abhi sir with a great round of applause. Will you all unmute yourself? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So
You
we'll
can
begin
start.
the session. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Abhi, before we start with the session, a small request to all the children. Like during the sessions, if you have any questions, you can post it in the chat box. And I request all the children to mute your mic. And if you have any question, you can post it in the chat box. So after every 10 minutes, you will have a break, and the top 5 questions will be answered to the during that 5 minutes break, and the session will again continue. At the end of the sessions, the remaining questions will be answered. Hope you all understand. Give me a thumbs up. Come on, thumbs up. I think you have some raise button, thumbs up button. You can click on that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support too. Yeah, over to you, Abhi.
Thank you. So, thank you for the wonderful introduction, Nidya ma'am, and thank you again for Shilpa ma'am to meet all the students here today. And I want to give you a quick guide of what we are going to do today. So, firstly, I am very passionate about space and space exploration. So, for the last 25 or so years, I have been following a lot of activities that is happening around in our Earth and in our space. So today, I'm going to give you a glimpse of what life is for an astronaut. I wanted to pursue the ambition to be an astronaut, but sadly, I was little sick when I was in my 11th standard. So I got little low in my marks when I was in my 11th standard. But still, I was able to pursue other things. I was very passionate about other forms of engineering. So I did my automobile engineering. So after that, I came to know that whatever I have learned using engineering in automobile is also being used in other places and other planets. So what are these? So why do we need to know all these things? So that's what I'm going to tell you today. And I'm going to see how you are going to take the life of an astronaut and take it as an ambition in your life to become an astronaut. So that's it for today. And yeah, we'll first see by the name, what is an astronaut? So astronaut is someone who's called as a sailor. So he is going across the sky and he is seeing a lot of activities that is happening in the space. So he is someone who is performing a lot of scientific experiments, a lot of scientific things in his time. And he also does a lot of work that is meant to be done for future. What is that future? We are going to see today. So what does he wear? So he wears something like a space suit. So the space suit consists of so many things. So we're going to see from top to bottom. So first, he has a camera on his helmet. So this helmet helps him to safeguard his internals, that is his face and his eyes and his breathing apparatus, all these things from the radiation, so that it doesn't bother him much. The camera is used for monitoring. So if people in the ground station, that is in the Earth space, they want to observe what the astronaut is looking through, so they can use the camera on his helmet and they can point and look at it. Next is gloves. Why do you need gloves? You can't go and touch all the equipments that are there in the space directly with your hand, because it might contain radiation or it might be in very cold state, because the atmosphere is filled with so much of materials, that is space matter, which you might not be exposed to when you are in the Earth, because we have a very protective atmosphere that protects us from any kind of harmful radiation. We have ozone layer, stratosphere, all this gaseous space will give you an ability for us not to be harmed by any other radiation. But in space, you can't do that. So we have to have some kind of protection. And the life support system, they'll be having a big backpack. They'll not carry books inside it. They'll not carry the laptop behind it. They'll carry a kind of oxygenator, that is for making new fresh oxygen, and they'll take away the carbon dioxide that we breathe out, and it will be circulated and created for new life support system. Then display and control module, they have a small smart watch. It can't be said as a smart watch, it's a smart device which can be used for monitoring all the things that are there in their vicinity. That is, they can look at objects, they can have a infrared monitor, all these things are there in their smart device. And radio and communication systems. So they need to talk to the space station as well as they have to talk to the ground station. So they have radio communication devices inbuilt into it. Finally, the entire encapsulation, that is combining all these things into one specific device, it's called a spacesuit. So that's what they are wearing. So where do they live? Once they leave the Earth's atmosphere, they need to go and stay in some space. That space is called International Space Station. That has been floating there above the Earth from the year 2000. and it has been circulating in such a way that it can be occupied by scientists from across the world. So there are science experiments that are conducted by Japan, Canada, Europe, America. Even Indian astronauts have tried to visit there, and they have been planning to send a manned mission to the International Space Station in the next decade, probably in the next 10 years. So it contains so much of equipments. It contains so much of crew module. What is a crew module? The crew module is something which is containing a lot of space for the people to work around. They can do science experiments. They can do all the activities that are needed for them for long stay. Say if I'm going to stay there in space, how long can I stay? Can anyone give me a guess? How long can you stay?
1 year.
Yes, sir.
1 year is very good. Okay, good number.
3 months, sir. 3 months.
Yes, sir.
3 months is a mission based time. So there has been one time where they have stayed for 585 days. So that is close to 1 3/4 of a year. So all this time, what they were doing experiments which were resultant of how long can the body take the space, that is microgravity space. You know what is microgravity? Have you heard this word microgravity?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. So we are living in an Earth which is having a gravity. No, what is gravity for us in Earth? Have you heard this number in your science classes? Most of you are in 7th and 8th standards, right? Gravity. The Newton, apple falling in his head.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay. So there is a number for it. Yeah, there is a
I have
number
guess,
for it.
sir.
Yeah, please guess. No problem. Science is a good way to
Sir,
guess. Nobody is going to
It
ask.
is a very weak form of gravity, sir.
Okay, that is microgravity, Kanna. What about normal gravity? That is in Earth. Okay, the number is 9.8 meters per second.
Object, sir.
It is 9.8 meters per second. That is any object that you pick up and drop it. Say for example, I have a toothbrush here. If I drop it, it is going to be around 9.8 meters per second. It is going to fall back into the Earth. So this is called gravity that is happening in the Earth. But in space, everything is happening in a microgravity, that is less than 1 meter per second or 0.5 meters per second, because the space around us is bounded by a larger object called the sun. So sun is guiding the entire space, and sun's gravity weakens over this period of space. So gravity will be very less in Pluto compared to that in the Mercury. So Mercury has the densest point where in which the gravity will make you crush. So you'll become like a chapati or a flat parota when you are standing in the surface of Mercury. So gravity will be so high. But compared to that of the surface gravity in Mercury, it will be very less. So when you jump, you will eventually get sucked by the sun. But in Earth, it doesn't happen because we have a very big atmosphere. We are protected. So if we jump, we don't fly into the space. So like that, every experiment is conducted in a crew module that has a lot of systems. I'm going to show you one by one. So food. They have to start their day by having some food. They have to brush their teeth, take a bath. All these questions you will ask. What will they do? What will they do? So they have to take some food. That food is mostly packed in a kind of a vacuum pack, so that it also is embedded in a Velcro strap so that it doesn't fly off. What do you mean by fly off? See, food is something that is squishy. That is, you have to bite it and you have to chew it and you have to take it into your stomach. In no gravity, that is in microgravity, you can only think about what will be the best way for you to eat, because once you start taking it out, it will start to flow. See, this astronaut is trying to have his daily meal, and it looks like mostly like a chapati, but it's called tortillo. It's a kind of dried chapati, and it floats in microgravity. And if you try to take a bite of it, most of it will fly off if you take it in a very hard way. So they try to prepare food in such a way that it is semi-solid, or mostly it is made up of non-solid materials. So that's how food is being prepared, and they will have a tray that has a Velcro strap so that it doesn't fly off. Why? Because we are going to see much more about what will happen if it flies off. Then living in space, after eating, after doing all the things in your life, in the space, you need to have some routine workout. We have a PT period, physical training period in our school. And what does the teacher say? Go run around the campus ground for at least 3 rounds, then come for playing all your activities. What does it do? So it keeps our body warmed up so that all the blood cells and blood vessels will have fresh blood and we can able to work out even better. In microgravity, there is no blood that is being pushed to all the places. So what happens? You will start to get weaker and weaker. So scientists have to think of other ways to keep their blood flowing in all their veins. So what they do, they have workout, that is resistance training. They'll put a big rubber band on their shoulder and they'll try to jump up and down, so that when they try to resist, the floor and the ceiling will all try to push them and they can able to have a lot of blood flowing in their body. So without this, what happens? Their bones and their muscles and their blood cells will become weaker and weaker and they'll get tired. And this is how it has been studied. So I told you for a period of around 580 days they have studied. So they have found that the muscle mass and the bone mass is getting dropped over a period of time. So what will happen if you stay for longer periods of time? Say like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years if you want to stay in space. There is going to be a time where in which we have to be space travelers for a very long time. There is no like taking a train from Vellore to Chennai in less than 3 hours. It is going to take more than 3 hours when you travel to space. So for moon, it is going to take 3 days. Traveling to moon is 3 days. So imagine if you want to go to some place like Pluto. Pluto takes around 17 years to travel. If you want to escape the entire solar system, it will take you minimum of around 32 years to travel out of our solar system. So that's the kind of travel. Yes.
Sir, out of the solar system, there is one. There is a theoretical asteroid cloud, ma'am. Sir,
Hot cloud.
it is called
Hot
Oort cloud.
Yes.
It is called Oort cloud. It contains a minimum of 70 to 80 trillion asteroids, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you combine them all, it will give you a planet that is up to 5 to 10 times the mass of our Earth, sir.
Yes, obviously, that is true. And the scientists are trying to find that large mass of planet. It's called Planet X, and it is still being found. Nobody has found it yet. Mathematically, it is there, but practically, it is not yet found. So I'll answer your questions a little later. I'll give you another 5 minutes time, then we'll have a break time, and we'll have a questions and discussion. So all these things will create so much of problem in your body. So you can't travel without taking your exercise and routine and all these things. So they do resistance, they do some nutritional habitats, they create some biphosphates, that is for enriching your body with lot of nutrients, like how Amma and Appa would give you Complan and Boost and other things. They need to also take some kind of supplements to keep them energetic. All these things will help them to make their muscles grow and make them habitual for microgravity. So these things, even after getting a healthy life, there needs to be some kind of psychological thing. You can't stay. If for the last 1.5 years we have been almost lockdown phase and we have not even met each other. So I think most of you students would have never met each other in the last couple of months. Probably when you had an opportunity to meet, there will be 1 person, 2 person meeting each other. Imagine for staying at long time in space and they are thinking about what will their home be, how long their family is there, how is their life in back in Earth. These are all psychological things. So they need to be conditioned for that as well. So also physical conditioning and all these things, behaviorals, everything has to be studied, and people are still studying it over a period of last 35 years. So these are all the things that you find as risks for humans when they go to microgravity. So now, what kind of experiments do? They do a lot of experiments. So some cool experiments is trying to create vegetation, that is creating plants and creating food that is there that can be consumed in space, because we are living for food. So obviously when you get up, you brush your teeth, you take your food, you go to school, and obviously they need to take food and they have to go down and work. So they have to do some work. So that work is dependent on creating food. So they experiment with so much of things that are there in microgravity. So this is Kelly, astronaut Kelly, Dr. Kelly, who's trying to make water droplets bounce between two non-invasive material. So like this, they'll do so much of experiment. Even they have to try to learn how they can do shampoo of their hair, because shampoo is very sticky. If you put it on your hair and if you try to wash it, where will the water go? So the water will start to flow everywhere. So they have gel-based soaps and gel-based shampoos to keep them dry and keep them clean. All these things are kind of experiments that they have evolved in this space. And after all these things, they need to take care of themselves in radiation, because there are so much of radiation that is happening outside of our Earth's atmosphere, and they need to take care of that. So all these things are factored, and they are going to be studied much better when you are in space. And when you are in Earth, you need to have to simulate this. How do you simulate this? Because simulations happen with small spacewalks. What is a spacewalk? Spacewalk is like when you go out of the space station and do some repair work. So continuously exposing someone to radiation is very harmful. So you will get a lot of skin cancer, you will have bone loss, so much of things. So scientists have devised a special spacesuit that I have introduced you already, and they'll take them out and they'll do some small routine checks, like 10 minutes to 7 hours. They'll do some routine checks to see how they are adapting to the outside atmosphere. So this is one kind of spacewalk where they serviced a telescope. Have you heard of this Hubble Space Telescope?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is Hubble Space Telescope's second module repair, which happened in 2005, where they had changed a lens and a battery module. So the scientist is carrying a battery module and he's trying to insert it in such a way through the crane. The operation is through a crane, which is holding his foot. So interesting. So like this, all these things can be done directly in space or can be done in Earth also. So what they do, they take the scientist, put them in the spacesuit, dunk them in water, and they'll ask them to do all the modules in their Earth's atmosphere. And with that, they can able to simulate the microgravity. So there is so much of things that happen without our control, because humans are prone to be falling sick in every way. So when was the last time you got sick? When did you have your last fever?
Sir, before 1 month, sir.
Okay. Someone else who is very close last week, last 3 days before?
2 days before.
See, every human is
2
different.
weeks
2
before,
weeks.
sir.
See, every human is different. So imagine what will happen to astronauts if they are staying there in space for a long time. So they need to train them, condition them in such a way so that they don't vomit on the spacesuit. So they will train them and put them in the microgravity system and keep them accustomed to all this modified life outside of our atmosphere. So this is the largest tank, underwater tank, and they'll put all the space crew there and they'll try to train them for at least up to 12 to 14 hours outside the microgravity. Next, after all doing this work, sir, I'm very tired, sir. I have to go and sleep, sir. What will I do, sir? If I sleep in the space, I will float down like this. I'm going around in space like this. So what they'll do, they'll have again Velcro straps and they'll put them in a kind of special suit so that they don't move around and jiggle around much. And they'll keep there in that space for 8.5 hours. Why? Because as you work around, your body needs to take some rest. Because normally we humans sleep for at least 8 hours or 10 hours. But scientists in the space station and the outside of our atmosphere have to work around the clock. So they keep themselves occupied in such a way so that they sleep for 8.5 hours. So after all these things, why do we need to do all these things? So what happens next? Doing all this space exploration, doing experiments, jumping with water in between your table tennis like a racket. All these things will influence us to go out and explore the nature. Say like how we have evolved, how humans have evolved over the last billion years, and we have become a kind of a new age species for space exploration. Why? Because when we think about this, if we can tackle all the big problems into small chunks, see how we can target muscle loss, how you can say neuroorbital adaptation, cardiovascular problems, all these things if you start to study, if humans can do it better, they can go and do it somewhere outside also. So this is going to be the bonus session. Before I start, I'm going to ask you a question. Why are we doing all this in Earth and in the space? Can anyone guess?
what is happening in the space and like that
Okay.
or new something
Sir, to develop the technology, sir.
Okay. Good technology to be developed. And what happens after the technology?
I think we will adapt
to
to
study
the
what is in the space
Okay. What is there in space? Only in space? Sorry, come again.
and in other planets. Is
Okay,
there
very
some
good.
other living organism like us?
Very good, very good. You are almost there. You are almost there. Okay, Kannan, can you tell me what other planets can we explore with this kind of opportunity?
Mars, sir.
Okay,
Sir.
Venus, sir.
Mars. Okay,
Saturn.
Venus, sir.
Venus.
Saturn.
Venus is very tough. If you go there, you will have hydrochloric acid and hydrogen sulfide acid falling on you.
Sir. Saturn, sir. Jupiter, sir.
Jupiter is also very tough. It is a gas planet. If you fall, you will be keep on falling.
Sir,
Saturn.
Ganymede, sir.
Someone said a moon of
Sir,
Jupiter.
Mars, sir.
Sir, Ganymede, sir. Titan, sir.
Titan. Okay, Titan
Sir,
is also.
Moon, sir.
Moon is also good. Moon we have already explored. We have already stayed there for about 20 days, 30 days. We have stayed there. Not more than that.
Sir, Proxima B, sir.
Proxima Century and all you can't go. If you start to go now, your grandchildren's 20 times will go and reach there.
Sir, sometimes I've heard that the time in the earth and the space time is different, sir. Is it true, sir?
True. So space time is different from Earth time because we are bounded by a gravity of a larger object called our sun. Our big brother sun is taking care of all the time here. Since we are bound by that, space time for the entire galaxy is different from us. If you look at something, okay, can you tell me, can you imagine, okay, you are right now standing in a place looking at a star in your sky, okay. Can you tell me what was the time in which that star started to shine?
Sir, which star, sir?
Any star, you look at it in the sky.
For Proxima Century, I
Sir,
think it is
something
4
like
years
7:30.
earlier, sir.
One,
30,
please
sir.
speak one.
How far is the star, sir?
24 hours, no kanna.
Sir, the all time
Sir,
the
4 years,
star is
sir.
shining only, sir.
Sir, 4 years, sir.
Okay.
Sir, depending on how far is the star, sir? 4 billion years, sir.
Okay, someone said about how far is the star. Okay,
Yes,
good
sir.
good
Sir,
answer.
depending upon time, sir.
Time is relative, Kana. Distance is the actual measure that you can do. Okay. Now, tell me how long does it take for light from our sun to reach us?
8 minutes, sir.
8 minutes, sir.
8 minutes
Sir,
and 20
it's called a light year, something like that, sir.
Year, sir. 1 light.
Wait. Let's not jump to another answer. Okay. 8 minutes 20 seconds. Okay. So for the sun, which is very close to us, it takes around 8 minutes 20 seconds. Okay. Now imagine the star that you are looking in the sky. How long will it take? Am I audible?
Sir, can you repeat the question, sir?
Okay. For the sun, which is close to us, it is taking around 8 minutes 20 seconds for the light to reach us. Okay. Whatever the light you are seeing now from your window, it's 8 minutes 20 seconds old. Okay. So
Okay,
what will
sir.
be the light coming from the star that you are looking in the sky at the night time?
Sir, the stars are always present, sir. So that's because of the sun's light, they are not visible to us. So, because they are always present, they don't need any time to reach us, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
more like the dependent on the distance, sir.
Yes, distance is also okay. I'll give you the answer. Maybe you can think about it for a little more time so that
Sir.
it'll give you a better understanding. Light is the fastest thing that is there in the entire universe. So light is the fastest way you can send information or travel information in across whatever space you think about. Take for example, if you are using your mobile phone, mobile phones uses a thing called a spectrum that is made up of microwaves. Microwaves is an extension of visible light. So you will learn this all in physics. So I'm not going to bother you with a lot of physics. But the light that is coming from a star is in various spectrum. That is, it is coming in microwave, gamma ray, infrared wave, visible light wave, all forms of light is coming up.
Sir.
Even X-ray is also coming. Every form of spectrum is coming from a star. But the best and the fastest way for us to get all this is through the dark space that is entirely void of anything. So if there is another star blocking another star, you can't see the one behind it. So you can't see my left hand because my right hand is blocking it. So the distance is only relative to the place that is in between us. So if the moon blocks us, it becomes eclipse. If a star blocks us, it becomes a eclipse of a star. So like that, every time the star is moving a little ahead or behind us, it is all relative of the time at which it is moving. So whatever star you are looking in the sky, it takes around at least 1 billion years to reach you. So most of the stars that you see in the sky are already dead. They are all dying stars or already dead stars. So if you try to go and reach another star, by the time you go and reach there, it would have been already dead. So that is space-time. Okay, this is too complex for you. I'll try to stick to the normal way of answering. So you told that
disappointing.
that is life in a space. So we are very small creatures. We humans, we live for a very short time. We don't live more than very happily thinking we can't live more than 100 years. But a planet or a star can live for a minimum 5 to 10 billion years. So our sun is around 5 billion years old. To overlap and live beyond our sun, we have to live for at least 5.1 billion years. So there is no species in our entire planet to have lived beyond that 5.1 billion years, except that sand, rock, or any kind of materials that is deeply inside our planet's core. So all these things will ask us how we are going to go and explore other planets. So someone said about Mars, someone said about Ganymede, someone said whether we can go and live in Venus. Venus not possible. Venus we will burn in the atmosphere. So all these things we are trying to do to experiment to go and stay in other planet. So these are some of the experiments we have done, and we have been trying to create a biosphere for us to go and live. So that in the future, when you go, you can take an entire spaceship, travel to another planet, and you can stay there in that planet for a few hours or few days as a vacation. Then you can start another spaceship and you can go to another planet. So this is a kind of space exploring species that we are going to be very soon. So someone asked, very disappointing, sir, because we can't go there. Disappointment comes only for our lifetime, but in the future, someone else is going to outlive all these things. So future, some human is going to evolve, and he's going to get into the laptop or get into a computer to stay there for a very long time. And he can also go
like uploading our brain to a computer, sir.
Yeah, it is there. In the process of transcendence.
It will not get corrupted, sir.
It will not get corrupted, Kana. if it gets corrupted, then we will be having a opportunity to know why it got corrupted also. Someone will be there to make the sacrifice. Okay, so we are going ahead. This is what I wanted to tell you. So we are going to be the first generation of human species who's going to go and settle in another planet. So there are plans already to go and settle in planet Mars. By 2030, there is a mission to go to Mars, and they are going to be first generation of space explorers who is going to stay there for 573 days. I told you the magic number 580, correct? When they stayed in a space or international space station for 580 days.
Sir, I asked another doubt, sir.
Okay. Please keep it short.
Sir, I said the time is different, no, sir. If in Earth it's 1 year means how much year will be there in space, sir?
Which space?
No, sir. If we are in space, in space station, sir, after 1 year we are returning to Earth, sir. How much year will be there in Earth, sir?
Normally.
Sir, I think it will be same, sir.
Okay,
Just a little bit into the future, sir.
Okay. In
Space
our space station, I'll answer your question very simply. Okay. We have one sunrise and one sunset every day, correct?
Yes, sir.
But in space station, the entire International Space Station is going across the Earth at 12 times a day. 12 times. Okay. They will have sunrise and sunset 12 times a day. So because it is geosynchronous, you know what is geosynchronous? I hope. What is geosynchronous?
Sir, I think it's fast something, sir. I don't know, sir.
Okay, fine. So something to do with our space station mapped for the entire globe, and it is traveling at almost to the speed of 10G. That is 10 times faster than the speed of sound.
Okay, sir. If we are in a space station, sir, in Earth we can time travel, sir, because we live only 100 years. You told, sir. If we live something, sir. If we live more. Okay, sir. Now I'll say in simple, sir. 1 second, sir.
Okay.
If we go to some other universe itself, sir, some other like Milky Galaxy, sir, and return to Earth, sir.
Don't confuse me, da.
Hey, 1 second. Sir, if you go and live in space for a long time, sir, and return back to Earth, sir, it will be so much future, sir. But it will be more than 100 years, sir. Then we did a time travel also, you can say, sir.
See, you are talking about relative time. That is.
Yeah, he's saying that if you go to a black hole and stay there for like 8 years, and if you come back to Earth, it will be like more than 80 or even 800 years, sir.
Okay, this is all related to astrophysics. This is a topic which is little advanced for you, but I'll try to put you in a very simple space so that you can understand. Okay. When did you come to Earth? When did you come to Earth?
Sir, when did it come to Earth means...
when were you born? When were you born? When were you born?
Sir, 2065, sir.
Yeah, correct answer. Give correct answer. What year were you born?
Sir, I was born in 2009, sir.
2009.
Sir, 2007, sir.
2000. Okay.
Sir, not 2009, sir. 2008, sir. By mistake, I said wrong, sir.
Okay. 2008, 2007, 2009. Yes, Shilpa ma'am.
So I think students are more eager and they are like, so children, I request you to put your questions in the chat box so that it will be addressed. Okay. Yeah.
So I will give you the reason why I asked you earlier, because for something to be traveling that across space or across time, if you need to go time travel as a way, there needs to be some kind of object that needs to bound to some kind of natural life. You can't make something pass through black hole. You know, you said something about black hole time travel and all these things. These are all theoretical astrophysics based concepts. So people have not proved ways for us to go and get inside a black hole, and they have tried to create the close level of logical reason, that is creating a nuclear fusion reaction in our Earth to create an artificial sun. So after artificial sun, they have created an artificial sun in a place called CERN, that is in Switzerland, and they are trying to make that sun get older and older, say like some 10 billion years older at a faster rate, and then they can create a black hole. Okay. I'm coming to your answer. Wait. So
Sir,
creating,
1 second, sir. I have a doubt in this, sir. Sir, if we travel faster than light, can we time travel?
Hey,
Sir?
tell in the chat box, da.
okay, I'll finish this question and I'll answer you one more time. So wait. So making our artificial sun itself will take around some billion years. Okay. So creating an artificial black hole will take another billion years. And after that, you put yourself in that black hole and you time travel, then you can know that that event has happened. Correct. Something to have option, we should have already had that option happen. That is past, present, and future. Correct? Am I right?
Sir.
புரியுதா நான் சொல்றது புரியுதா ரொம்ப ரொம்ப சுத்தி
Yes,
சுத்தி
sir. I
பேசுறேன்.
can. Yes, sir.
I can understand with my small brain, sir.
Okay. So for anything to be created, there needs to be a time that is bound to it. So scientists theorize that if there is a black hole which is very close to us in our solar system or in our very Proxima Centauri relation, we might have already been visited by some of our future people, that is time travel people. Correct?
Yes, sir. I think Stephen Hawking already tried an experiment, sir.
Okay.
He posted saying that welcome to a time travels party, sir.
Okay.
So he posted poster, sir, saying that if any time travel reaches, you should come to the time where he posted it, sir. But no one came to, sir.
Okay. What did he do? Did he do it in a postcard? What did he do it with?
Sir, he do it with a postcard and send it to everywhere on the planet, sir, and waited for very long time, sir.
No.
But no one came, sir. This
He
experiment was taken by Stephen Hawking, sir.
You know, Dr. Stephen Hawking did this, but he did it in a very methodological way. He didn't do it in a postcard. He didn't send it to anyone across his postcard. He did it in a platinum iridium disc. Okay, platinum iridium is the most strongest material which cannot be broken, which cannot be corroded or which cannot be destroyed. So he made a specific date in that platinum iridium card, and he made sure that it got bound to the space. So he sent it across in space, and he sent also radio transmissions across the universe in various points. So one pointing towards Proxima Centauri, one towards Sagittarian line, one towards Alpha Centauri, all different stars he pointed and sent a radio communication. So he thought if you could send information across space, it can also be sent through time. So if someone received that signal, they would have already received that signal and they would have come back to meet him by that time. That was in 2010, I guess. It was made in 2010. So nobody came to visit him in 2010. It was a very top secret mission so that they don't spoil the surprise. So he only devised that experiment and he sent it across. Nobody came to visit him on that particular experiment. So it is factually pointing that we don't understand the entire concept of space-time entirely. Okay. So can I go ahead with the presentation? Do you want the bonus session or you want me to answer all the sessions? Because I'm almost close to ending the session. You want to know more about Mars?
Question,
You want to know about Mars or you don't want to know about Mars? You just tell me.
sir, we want to know about Mars, sir. But last question, sir. If we travel faster than light, can we time travel, sir?
Theoretically, yes. Practically, no.
Well, yes, but actually, no.
Theoretically, yes. Practically, no.
Yes, sir.
You can't travel faster than light. Your human body is not made for traveling faster than light. That is the answer.
Okay, sir. If any machine can travel faster than light, what can we do, sir?
Machines have traveled, atoms have traveled. So there is mesons, photons, electrons. There are subatomic particles that they have traveled faster than light and they have time traveled. Okay. Subatomic particle has time traveled. Understand? Don't ask me what is subatomic particle because that itself will take another 2 hours to explain. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
There are 16 different types of subatomic particles: mesons, photons, electrons, quadrinos, muons, all these things. So these 16 particles have time traveled. Apart from that, nothing else has time traveled. Okay. Okay, I'm going ahead with living on Mars. So this is the bonus session for you. So we have to go and stay in Mars for some time to do some experiments, and possibly we have to go and stay there for a very long time. So there are lots of opportunities there. There are a lot of tourism based opportunities also there. So why do we need to go there? Because it is very close to us, and it also has a lot of features that is very similar to Earth. So we can start here from day one, and almost to the end of 580 days, you can come back to Earth, because every 2 years once, the orbits of Earth and Mars coincide with each other. And all these things make sure that we also have a specific adaptability to live in Mars, because the gravity matches each other. So the distance also matches almost each other, and time. So 24 hours is in Earth time, 24 hours and 40 minutes is there in Mars time. So all these things are almost similar, and we also have a very habitable space. But the sad part is Mars doesn't have a very thick atmosphere. So whatever radiation that comes straightly hits us, gali. So all the radiation will create a lot of cancer in your skin, and you will probably die in less than 3 weeks of time if you stay there in Mars without any space suit or any protection. So how do we going to do that? We need to develop a lot of technologies first in India, or first in Earth, and then we have to go there and live there. So what are we doing? What are we targeting on? So
sir, we can.
Okay. So all these things. So trying to avoid cold climate, low gravity. There is only about 30 to 40% gravity there in Mars. All these things we have to do. So how do we do that? So one by one. So first, water. Where do we get water from? We can go to the North Pole of Mars. We can dig some ice. We can melt that ice, and we can make some water reservoir that is also recyclable. All these things we can do. We can create artificial air, because Earth is made up of 20% oxygen and 80% nitrogen. Our atmosphere is very favorable for us because nitrogen doesn't bother our lungs. Oxygen we can breathe, and we can give out carbon dioxide. But it is all ulta, it is all inverse in Mars. Mars is completely made up of very thin atmosphere, and that too is completely filled with a lot of carbon dioxide. So we need to have reverse synthesis of carbon dioxide to oxygen. That is Mars exploration mission that has started right now. That's Perseverance, that is going there around in Mars right now from the month of February, is doing that experiment. So it is trying to create oxygen by breaking down carbon molecules in carbon dioxide. That's what they're doing. From CO2, they're trying to make O2. And food, obviously you need to make some lot of foods. So experiments that are happening in International Space Station also helps you to make food in other places, that is even in Mars. So they are trying to make hydroponics, that is growing growing plants in dirt, in water. All these things are trying to make. Even they are trying to make chicken and eggs in the space. Don't ask me what comes first. They are still trying to find the answer. And making all these things, even fertile dirt needs to have some nutrients. If you need to have some bacteria, you need to have some earthworms, you need to have some clear differentiation between what is phosphor, what is minerals. All these things you have to create in the Martian atmosphere, because Mars is completely made up of red sand, that is iron. Iron cannot sustain a lot of life. So you need to create a lot of other minerals to make plants grow. And you can't wear this kind of cotton cloth in Mars. You need to have some protection, and you need to also have to be protected by the Martian surface, because it is also filled with a lot of dust and sharp iron particles. So they have created some kind of artificial materials, that is ultra soft material that can able to penetrate and keep our skin soft and stable. And they're eventually going to discover a new material that is going to support us for living longer there. And building, you can't go and put a brick there and hope that it is going to stick there for a long time. So they are trying to make materials that can be printed, that is 3D printed. So science is going to take in a long action. So scientists in NASA and the European Space Agency are trying to build spheres, that is biospheres, which can be 3D printed. And all the materials, that iron, steel, copper, all these things have to be mined from the surface of Mars, and they can be reused again for making other things. All these things comes very good, but what about electricity? Without electricity, you can't do all the work, because machines need power to work, and we have very poor battery, so batteries cannot be used. So nuclear energy very dangerous. You can't use because Mars is not that very favorable for us because there is a lot of climatic issues there. Solar, obviously there is more sun there, but what will happen if you stay there for a very longer time? The cells in the solar panels will get corrupted because it is always ahead of our time. Finally, the best way to do is wind energy because Martian winds is very, very fast. Next, vehicles. What can we drive around? There are experiments which have been done already in moon. So they are moon Apollo missions that happened in 1970s and then the almost the early years of 1980s. They made sure that they can drive an artificial driving vehicle which is made up of battery, and they have tried to run around. This car is already there in moon, and they are trying to send more of this into Mars also. If by the future they will be run through good fuel, that is either through methane or oxygen or other kinds of fuels, they'll try to do it. And they're also going to use robot. Watch what this robot is doing, okay? What did it do?
Opening the door for another robot.
Okay, so this is a helper robot. So this is a Boston Dynamics robot. So this is called Spot. This is called Spot, and this is supposed to be next generation of robots that will be sent to Mars. So this is called quadrupods, that they can walk in all four legs. So these kind of experimental robots are being built, and they are trying to be sent to other planets so that they can study and they can able to give us an adaptability of how we can live with the support of robots. Why? Because future we need to have some kind of self-support system, and we also need to go and explore a lot of the planet. We have to do some lot of recreational work, we have to do a lot of machinery work, and we also need to make ourselves very fit. So all the scientists who are doing workout in the space station have also need to go and do some gardening work, painting work, all these things in their space station that is going to be there in the Mars. They can also do rock climbing, they can make some snowballs in the North Pole of Mars. All these things can happen. So this is called terraforming. Terraforming is making a planet almost suitable for us to go and live. So naturally for our Earth, it is very easy because we have lots of greenhouse gases, that is carbon dioxide is there at the topmost layer, and this is preventing us from getting colder. With greenhouse effect, we are having a very warm climate so that our bodies can survive with a lot of water that is there in our ocean. Also adding nitrogen, someone said something, we can go and live in Titan. So we can go and take all the nitrogen from Titan and we can put it back in the Mars atmosphere, and we can build our own society with a very good atmosphere there. So all these things, if you try to do, that is adding life to a new planet. So Mars will become a green planet, say in another thousands or another million years from now. Until then, we are only going to be there for exploration region. So we are going to make some changes to the planet so that it becomes a green planet like our Earth. Until then, we have to only live in our Earth. And this is called biosphere. That is taking an atmosphere, introducing a new life through hydrosphere. That is by water. You have first generation of plants and animals coming from water. They come to land, that is called lithosphere. And after that, all these things combine together. From amoeba, how life has evolved into humans, all these things happen because of generations and generations of new life forms. So this is called life, evolution of life, and that is how we are going to live. Lastly, we need robots to make new plants and new foods. So can you tell me what is most significant about this movie, WALL-E? Have you seen this movie?
Sir, I saw.
Sir, I saw this WALL-E.
WALL-E, okay. What happens in this WALL-E? Can anyone tell me?
Earth becomes full of garbage and all. They will go.
Okay, garbage and all, and go.
Earth becomes a waste
and go to
planet,
space,
sir. So
and their another robot will be there, sir, to get friends, sir. And it will take a small plant with it, sir.
Okay.
Hey, silent.
Okay, so I'll make it a very short story. So it is a story where all the humans have left the Earth, and they are sending one surveyor robot that is called EV. So EV is that white color robot. which comes to Earth to study if there is any opportunity for us to go back and see if there is any life there. So there is only one other person in the entire planet, that is called Wally. Wally is that garbage collecting robot, which falls in love with Evie, and they both hitchhike into a spaceship and they reach another star. And they find out that all the humans inside that spaceship have become very lazy. They have grown a lot of muscles and they have become very couch potato. They always watch TV, they always eat chips, they always eat snacks, and ultimately they become very fat humans. So what happens next? Will they ever come back to Earth? Is this story. Okay. So this is all going to happen if we don't take care of our planet, and if you don't take care of planet, our Earth will become like that couch potato garbage. Okay. So this is all that we have saw today. So over the next many thousands of years, we are going to make some advances in our human science and space science, so that we can create a lot of new life on outside of our planet. So that's the thing I want to convey through this image of Wall-E. So I hope everyone takes care of our planet, and I hope everyone will be a good student and good human being to our planet, to not pollute it, not make it into a garbage dump, and not make a Wall-E come to life and clean the entire planet. Okay. So that's it for today. If you want to know more about what is happening in Mars, how are things going to happen, this is the kind of 4 societies that are happening across the planet who are trying to create new opportunities for us to go and make some contribution. So you can take note, or you can get this as a information from your teacher. Okay. So I hope everyone will be passionate enough to become an astronaut. If not me, I want at least all the 34 people in this session to have that experience and go and learn. So thank you, and you have any questions, you can ask me. I think I have 5 more minutes. Yeah.
Sir, is there any planet like Earth, sir?
I happen to know a planet that is Kepler 36b. That is a planet that is very close to called as a Earth's twin. You can go and Google about it.
Sir, what
Earth's
about
twin.
Kepler 450?
Sir, what's the name, sir? Can you repeat again, sir?
It's Kepler 36b and Kepler 450. Someone said 450b.
For Kepler 452b.
452b. They both are called as Earth's twin.
Kepler 1336.
They are called as exoplanets. You can search exoplanets like Earth. You can search exoplanets like Earth and you can read a lot about it.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, is any astronauts seen aliens?
I don't know, Kana. You have to go and ask the astronaut.
Sir, is Thanos living in Titan, sir?
That also you have to go and ask Thanos only. Because Thanos is already dead, Ra. How can you go and ask him?
Sir, no, sir. He will only die in 2025, sir.
That is again a theoretical, or it is kind of like a fictional story. It is not a real story, okay? We are talking about science. We are not talking about fiction. Thanos is a fictional character. Thanos never lived and Thanos never died. It is all a marketing story by comics. You know what is comics? So it is all comic stories. It's not real story.
Sir, is there warp, sir? Something they will go faster, sir.
That again, I told you, it's all still being studied. We don't know what is going to be the speed at which we can break the barrier of light. That's called the warp speed.
Sir, yes. Sir,
Yes.
sir, we can make anti-gravity and artificial gravity also, sir.
We can use some centrifugal motion. You know what is centrifugal motion? That is taking a 1 rupee coin and putting it on a cup, and if you try to put a string on the end of the cup and you rotate it across your head, that becomes a kind of artificial gravity, that the coin will never fall out of the cup. Have you tried that experiment?
Sir, that warp drive is some kind of, you have to put a large mass on the front side, sir, and a large negative mass on the back side, sir. But you can't get that negative mass, sir, because it is also very theoretical, sir.
Okay, Kana. You can send me a question in to one of your teachers. I will try to answer it in a better way because you are still very curious about science fiction stuffs. So science fiction, I'm not very happy to answer in this session because this session is only for science, not for science fiction. Okay, I will try to answer the questions in your chat box. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 questions. Okay. Sir, what is the farthest galaxy in the observable universe? Oh, that's a very far question. Okay. Observable universe, as you state, is something close to around 2 trillion miles across. So that is 3 trillions after 1, 2. Okay. So we have not named these galaxies because they are still moving a little far away from us. So there is a thing called red shift and blue shift. You can Google about it. I'll type it here. And, red shift. Try to Google about it and you will understand what is the farthest galaxy in our entire observable universe. Okay. Have aliens ever visited Earth? There are many proofs where aliens visited Earth. Do any astronauts seen them? That is also a speculative science. That is also, I'm not very comfortable in answering that question. You can ask any people who watch History Channel, that Ancient Aliens channel. You can watch and you can enjoy the show. But I don't believe in those non-fictional, fictional stuff. I read journals, I read articles that are published by scientific journal people, and I don't have ever seen anyone who has mentioned meeting aliens in kind of science journal because it is reviewed by more than 10,000 or 15,000 people, not like History Channel.
Sir, I think I have searched one thing on YouTube, sir. There is a channel called NASA Gym 108, sir. It is published by a person, I don't know who he is, sir, but he said that one of his client died, but before he died, the client works in NASA, sir. He told the person to post everything that he has on while working with NASA, sir.
Okay, so it's again, it's all theoretical concept. So I don't want to go into that. Sir, when the wind blows in Mars, what will be the speed of the wind? Okay, that's a very good question. So we in Earth, we categorize it based on the category of hurricane. So we have 5 categories. So category 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the maximum speed that can go in Earth is around 180 to 200 kilometers per hour. That is the fastest wind that you can see. And if you observe in Mars, they are almost to the range of 130 to 150 kilometers per hour. That is even almost to the range of category 5. So that's the largest and the fastest winds that we have been observed in Mars. May I know what is the difference between the wind in Earth and the wind in Mars? Winds in Mars carry a lot of dust. So this dust is all filled with sand and iron particles. So it'll pierce your skin and it will tear your skin. But in Earth, it is all made up of gas. So oxygen, nitrogen, all these things are flowing in the Earth. So you don't get harmed by the winds in Earth.
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Okay, please, I'll answer these questions.
Yeah.
Does rise in altitude astronauts going to space from Earth really cause short-term memory loss? Are they just rumors? I don't suppose there have been any short-term memory loss, but it is they might go into seizure or cardiac arrest if they are not prepared for the force of gravity. That is, scientists are exposed to about 5 to 7 Gs of force when they travel into the space. So if they don't prepare themselves for this extreme force of pressure, they might have nausea and they might faint. That has been observed, but I think most of the scientists are prepared and they have military training to get themselves accustomed to travel in space. I'm going beyond 10 o'clock. I'll try to answer another 2 more questions. How many years is old is Earth? Earth is around 5 billion years old, as old as our sun. What will happen if Earth's rotation speed stopped? Earth's rotation will be stopped, we will instantly become a very cold planet and we will fly off into our another galaxy or another solar system. If it stops, it means Earth's gravity is not bound to sun, it will fly off. It will become very cold planet. Can you explain about nuclear fusion, sir? Okay, nuclear fusion, it will take a very long time, but I can simply say that it is like making a lot of, it's like making vada. Vada ingredients are made up of rice batter, pepper, coriander leaf and all these things. So fusion is making all these things into one small thing and you are roasting it in a oil tawa. So that is nuclear fusion. Fission is making pakoda. You are splitting up a lot of ingredients and putting in oil tawa, it becomes nuclear fission. Okay. Kanan, we will die. Sir, how many years old is Earth? All the question is repeated again. Okay. 5 billion years old.
Yeah, we almost all the questions have been answered.
Okay.
Hope children, if you have any question, you can post it to Divya ma'am or Nitya ma'am, so that we can, we are happy to answer all those questions. And if you are interested further in astronomy sessions, we also take astronomy sessions, and you can contact Divya ma'am so that you can reach us and we can organize for the classes. Okay. Hope you all have enjoyed the session. And Abhi, thanks for sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you.
And over to Divya ma'am or Nitya ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir. I think you are very much patient to answer the questions of the children. They were very eager in asking many questions. Actually, though it was told that they have to post the questions in the chat box also, they were very eager to ask you questions. So thank you so much for answering all the questions. Children, hope you all had a very nice session. So thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you for motivating the upcoming astronauts from our class. Thank you so much, Abhi sir. Hope they would have got a spark from you. Okay, so thank you so much for making the session very interesting and informative. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Shilpa ma'am, for organizing things and making things easy for us also. Thank you, Shabana ma'am, for joining. Yeah, you can give a big round of applause to the team. Thank you all once again.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for being very curious. I like children when they are very curious. So I hope I will meet you again another time.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, children.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You can go to break and can be back at
Thank you, ma'am.
10:20
Bye,
for
ma'am.
next
Have a
session.
nice day, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you, teachers.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.